Once again, welcome to CADMATIC Electrical webinar about building electrification. My name is Antto Heino, and I'm an application specialist for electrical applications, and I have a long 10-year background in electrical designing, and of course using electrical as my main tool. So I think I know something about what I'm telling you throughout the next hour or so. Yep. This webinar is still, we are going some basic stuff, then we will move on to more advanced things, but the general things about CADMATIC Electrical, what users should know is that we are actually an independent CAD tool, and we have this called CADMATIC Draw. That's our basic CAD engine, and that independent CAD tool means that we are actually we have no strings attached to any other software companies in regard of developing our any design tools that we have, electrical or other ones. So everything we do ourselves, not that we buy things or have any kind of base from, for example, from AutoCAD in this case. General things about the drawing types that we can use on electrical and also on draw. You can use those DRW drawings, which are our native document types. And of course, then in worldwide, there is quite a many softwares that are using DWG and DXF. Those are we are compatible with those file types, and then some import functionalities for example, DGN and EMF file types. Of course, one thing that isn't written here is the IFC file, which is only import export ways to be used, of course, and then two more Microsoft documents are the PDF and Excel as well. But mainly those drawing types are allowed to use in electrical or in draw. And yeah, as mentioned, some types are missing. Not to say maybe the IFC isn't that much of a drawing, it's more like a file. Then about electrical, how we think of it, how we sell it, how it's done. So we have three application levels in electrical. So first we have the light. As the name tells you, it's really a light version. It strips down from many of these premium functionalities, and it's meant for users who are doing only small, maybe small house electrification, or let's say just really a house that people just live in, not even a 10-story building, rather it's only for that kind of design. Maybe some safety companies or protection designers maybe use a light as well. There is no database included in light, and not even for example, if you insert any devices to the drawing, they won't actually receive any ID for them. Then we have the basic application level, which means that it actually has a database inside the drawing. So you are able to build your own project per one drawing, meaning that, for example, some distribution board, you will get all the functionalities for that. Maybe you do a schema or multi-line drawing of that. All the devices inside that one drawing are listed on the project. But still, the drawings are not talking to each other. Let's say they are independent drawing and independent projects in that sense. But then we have our premium version, which actually is basic features, but plus a few features, of course, and then it has the project database. And the premium means that you will you will actually have multiple drawings that are connected to each other using our electrical database. We will go to look at this database quite much today in different points of view. And today's presentation is mainly about the premium version. Many of those functionalities, of course, work in basic and also in light, but still today I'm going through about the premium version that we have. One thing that we also require from our users is that they have some sort of directory which is Windows based. Either it's your local PC or either it's on a Windows based server, but still you need to have some sort of Windows directory in order to get your drawings and project directory work correctly. You will need that Windows directory. Some users are already using some cloud services, OneDrive, etc. But in general, we don't encourage our users to use those yet, since there are some problems with our databases log files, for example, and if you have multiple users doing in the cloud service, it might corrupt the database, and that way your data is lost. Of course, there is some recovery functions inside those OneDrive and others, but still not something we recommend at the moment. Well, I spoke to you about the database that we have, how it's built, how it works. Let's check a few of electrical document types that we have. Since today's topic is building electrification, which in my mind is the most widespread way to use CADMATIC Electrical, since it includes almost every document type that we have in electrical. It's not only specific for some schema drawings, it also includes arrangement drawings, it includes cabinet layouts, multi-lines, single lines. It can have reports and lists exported from the database. And of course, the one thing that is missing actually from almost any other field of electrical design is the BIM. Since the BIM, which is, well, in electrical point of view, it's the IFC file that we can export from electrical. Well, you can see the CADMATIC Electrical is now written on the middle, in the middle here, and all these different drawings are going right and left, top and bottom. And that means that the CADMATIC Electrical, that can be also think of as the database of the project. So if you draw a multi-line drawing, create anything, you have the cable type here, for example, going from the safety switch to the motor. The same cable type can be drawn for our arrangement drawing. The same cable type can be listed here on reports. Same cable type can be specified here on the single line drawings. Well, maybe not in the cabinet layout and BIM, but still the other devices can also be specified on the cabinet layout and of course in the BIM model. So you can think of the CADMATIC Electrical as a database which you enrich that one with all the information you gathered throughout your project, and you can reuse that information in any any direction. And now to mention that since it's in the middle, the CADMATIC Electrical, it doesn't really matter where you start your design process from, whether you started from the arrangement drawing, you can create devices, cables, etc. You can complete this arrangement drawing and then move out to do any other drawings using the already made information in the database. Or then you can start from, for example, single lines. You can just create distribution boards and cables between those. That can be your point to start the project. So meaning that it doesn't really matter where you start your electrical project, since all the information is gathered in the middle and can be reused afterwards. Well, enough of the PowerPoint presentation so far. Let's go and check out our actual arrangement drawing, how it looks like, what can we find there. Well, all drawings that you create, they have some sort of coordinates, and you can actually see the coordinates on the bottom. So in case you insert any kind of device in here, it will have a coordinate. Well, so that you would get the device to the correct coordinate, there is few things that you need to take to consideration. First of all, you need to have some sort of external references. These are files that are from other design disciplinaries. For example, this one, which is coming from the architect, it's the building floor plan that you can use on the bottom here as an reference drawing. Reference drawings can be used as the drawing types that I listed before: DRW, DWG, DXF, and so forth. And of course, a PDF can be used as a reference drawing, but you can also have the IFC files as your external reference. We will go into those IFC files a bit later. Other things that you need to take to consideration also are the story settings. They can be found here. You can check the story settings, or then now that we have an actual project here already listed, we can check from our project tree. We can see that there are already done some story settings, for example, second story and the first story here. And now that you can see, we have a first story drawing open or active here. All the parts of this first floor are now bolded. We don't have the second story yet open, but if we change to there, they will be bolded, and the other ones will be just the regular text. The reason for that is to show just the user that they can see that what things in the drawing are active at the moment. The same thing is for any schema drawing, that if you have any devices, you can check them from the project tree as well. Well, let's go to here again. Other thing about getting your things in the correct places in your drawings is that you can actually import IFCs from the architect, for example, that contain spaces from architect's model. So meaning that you will actually get all the spaces into correct floors. And for example, we can now check that where is this space called shop. And you can also see all the devices and distribution boards listed inside here. This one space called shop will actually can be found here. So all things that you create and do in electrical, they actually will have a drawing, they will have a floor, they will have a space information. Of course, you need to define those values as well. It's not something that magically appears to be here. You need to import things and maybe do some modifications if necessary. That way you can get your all the objects in the correct places. Well, things are now appearing on the correct places, but for some users they may look a bit weird. They are in the wrong colors or something. How can you change those? We have our solution for that as well. We call them setting files, which are automatic settings that you will create any device to the drawing, and they will be automatically set to certain system and certain layer and the colors from the setting file. Setting files here, these all the ones that have the D on the right hand side, they are program's own setting files, but you can also create user setting files if you want. Just to show you how things work with the setting files, here is the one that we have now active. We have different settings here, and for example, let's see here, we can find there is a layer for example, socket outlets, or then yeah, there it is, indoor lighting system, and it has the color 130. Okay, and so if we go to check this other one, this one, if I remember correctly, it has, yeah, different names, but still the system is the same. The numbers don't lie. There is the number 2 and 2. Well, what does that mean is that if I set that one to be a current, or yep, let's do so, and I can close and update the drawings, their properties will change to all of these devices in the drawing. It will take a while since it will actually change almost everything here. So you can see now all the symbolics are let's quickly change to, yeah, that way you can see it better. So all the symbolics, all the cables are red, but and in case we want to go back, we can just change them to be that one and update the drawing. So I guess at least for me, this one is much nicer to have this way, with a bit different setting files. And as mentioned, the setting files can be your they can be your own made, or then you can use the setting files that we provide for you, and you can share those own created setting files with your colleagues, of course. Well, then on the right hand side, we have our project tree, which is showing currently the documents that we have. I already explained that we can have multiple document types in the project. Here are listed some. These are now automatically created document directories, which are actually just not an actual location for the drawing. Since if we check this project directory from the Windows, you can see that all the documents are inside this example project. They are listed here, so they cannot be in any subdirectories or something like that. They need to be on the same directory. But here on electrical side, you can give like an explanation that what kind of drawings are these that you have here. In case you don't want them to be arrangement drawings, you can, for example, rename this one arrangement, or then you can say floor plans, like so. It will change that one. And even this one, if I want to do them by floor, then I can just move it to directory and type in floor 1, and I can create my own subdirectories to here. And why these subdirectories or any directory here is quite useful is that, for example, you want to print all arrangement drawings, you just need to select print frames from all drawings, and boom, they will be all printed from your project. Quite useful. Also, one thing you need to see here is that with this tree as well, if I change my document to be something else, it will of course bold that one. The same things work with this document 3 as work with any other other project views. Yep. Well, then let's go for the symbols that we have. The symbols, you can define our, let's go back to electrical here. We have different standards and location settings. At the moment, I'm using the standard, the IEC. We also have the NZ and other standards here. User can create a custom standard as well. And then also we have some different locales. Now I have United Kingdom selected, but could be anything else. And the design language, of course, is defining what language you are going to have to be used when you, for example, if I go to this device here, I will see now it's linear light fixture, but maybe you select it to be Italian or German, then it will be using those languages. And also what the standard setting will change is your symbol settings. So now I'm using the IEC and the locale is United Kingdom. It will be using symbols which look like this. Maybe if you are from Nordic countries, they may look a bit different in your locations. Maybe the socket outlets are for like this. But here I have an example that you can have different kind of symbolics in the same drawing, depending on your standards that you are using. Well, symbols that you have, you can easily insert symbols to your drawing. Let's, for example, insert this one here. Let's use insert symbols in an area, something like that. Yeah, select OK. Give a dimensions to that symbol. Yes, and just give them there. So now I have 6 new symbols, and meaning that I created symbols. And when you insert symbol into electrical, and now talking from premium and basic, these symbols will get an ID. And now the ID for this one is, for example, this hashtag LE11. Once it's inserted to the drawing, you can also see it from the project tree. Oh, now it's only showing it from the story and spaces. Let's go for devices and location, for example. So now it's on these undefined devices. It's only a light fixture in this location, but there is nothing else information for that device. But still, the important thing is that you will get the ID for that one. Well, light fixtures are usually only in the arrangement drawing, but there are some symbolic, some devices that usually are in multiple drawings. And we have one example here, which is our safety switch, for example. Also, things can be defined here so that you have the device. As you can see here, the Q10, it has the full ID 123Q10 coming from the location. And then you have the leader of that, or marking to that device. And this marking is also dynamic. So if you change the ID, it will change this one. So I can check from the project tree that where is this Q10. And the project tree will tell you that it belongs to this object 123. And below that, you can find it Q10. So that's the reason for this 123Q10. Well, now we see it from the project tree that we have the Q10. Here are the 2 occurrences of this one device. They are in here. And then there are 4 occurrences on the other drawing. I can just double click of any of these gray texts here, and they will lead me to the next occurrence, or actually, yeah, the selected occurrence, of course, of that one. And I can double click other occurrences here, and you can find that they can be found there. Well, all these devices, they share the device information of Q10 at the moment, or properties. So if I double click this device here, open the device properties, I want to change it to be Q101. And I will select OK. And they are here, it's changed here. Just to let you know, one way to also find out your device occurrences is from the device properties, and you may want to go for the arrangement drawing in this way. Works the same thing as from the project tree. You can see now the same thing changed here. And OK. And still works, of course, to the other way. Just delete the one there, and you will have it here. And back here, the information is also updated. So that's the most essential thing to understand in electrical. As I showed you the diagram where the electrical was in the middle, that should actually now sum up the whole idea. Whether it's the this ID, whether it's the cables, whether it's the document itself, it's still connected to the database, and you can modify it from drawing. Since CADMATIC is an object-oriented, you can modify things from the drawing, or then you can modify things, of course, from the database, which we will look into a bit later. Yes, and then maybe we will move on to our product models. Since now we are looking only the devices, but the devices can have properties. Like you may have light fixtures are maybe the best example to have your product models, since usually when you in building electrification's point of view, since you will get the light fixtures list, and those are all individual positions, and actually position is one product model. So we can actually see that the position 7 here, we can show it from the drawing. You can see there are this many of it, and you can see there is 22 pieces. And even if I check from the project, all these light fixtures are bolded here. Well, what are the things that should be taken to consideration when you do product models? You can change the names from your product models. For example, I want to change this one to be Climax I60. You can change the position number, of course, any other visual properties. You can change the symbol of that one if you want. Maybe you want to change to arrangement drawing symbol there, like that. Oh, of course, that's the wrong one. We want to edit the symbol and change to arrangement, and it should be this one. Yeah. So I will change the symbol a bit. And of course, you can create your own 2D symbols here to be used, or then you can use our 3D own 3D libraries, which are not manufacturer specific, or then you can actually go and download the 3D DWG from manufacturers website. You can download it and create the 3D symbol. There are some instructions how to do that one. I will show you in the end of this webinar, where you can find those instruction videos or all the e-learning material. Okay, so you can create any of these. You can have multiple symbols. For example, the safety switch, it has the arrangement drawing symbol. It had the one for the schema symbol, also some connectors or connections, and then it had some terminal strips as a symbol. So you can have those all the symbols listed here, and when inserting to the drawing, you will just decide that what kind of symbolics you will be using. Then you can also import product information from any database that you may have. We have some stock databases available from a few manufacturers, but of course you can import your own product information to the product model. Also, the additional information is something that I recommend more to be used. For example, I use the additional information. Let's take two things here. You maybe want to have the additional information such as power. The additional information is it's unlimited information that you can add to your products in the let's leave the wattage out of there, like so, and maybe the manufacturer having those. So now we have some information. The additional information, as mentioned, it's unlimited information that you can give to any other any device, to any product model. And since now we are doing it from the product model, we are adding the power of 30 watts and manufacturer to be kilometers. This information will now be updated automatically to all the devices that belong to this product model. So if I close now and go and take a look of, for example, this device here, it will have the power of 30 watts and also the manufacturer kilometers. And any other additional information or product information added to the product model will be also in use for these devices here. But then there's also a possibility to you that you can actually create additional info boundary. For example, for this shop, it can be an IP boundary, but it can be anything else. As mentioned, additional information is unlimited information that you can give to any device or any product model, or any object rather. Not to say only devices. This additional information can be for any object. So cableways, cables, locations, distribution boards, whatever you think of. And if I want to give an IP boundary, for example, to this shop area, it will be an IP20, and also maybe the required value rather should be here. So we are requiring that all the information in this area should be at least IP20. We can define the boundaries here and maybe should do some filtering if we only want to this boundary to be set, for example, for the light fixtures. But the IP is something that we want to have actually to all devices and objects here. So we will create an IP boundary of IP20 for the required value. Select OK and just draw the boundary to be the size of this whole shop area. And now you can see the IP class is now here subtracted in IP20, meaning that it's only a required value, not an actual value for that one. If we check the additional information, it's here. So in case you check it from the database or do some lists, you can also see that this area needs to be IP20, and you have a device list, and you can see that, okay, this one doesn't go with this rule or this, for example, this base IP boundary. Yes, there are the product models, rather quick look for them. Let's move on to our second floor, and this today's release will actually have this new feature that the product models can be created afterwards. we have the space information. You can export the space information, for example, to Dialux Evo Pro. And in there, you can create all the lighting design, meaning that you can define all the light equipment, you can specify them. And after you have specified those in the Dialux, and make sure that you have used the STF file to create spaces in Dialux. And when you export an IFC from the Dialux, you can actually import that one to electrical. Oh, one more. So samples, electrical. So we can import this IFC file here. And here you can see there is 34 luminaires in that project. And since it's made using the STF file, which is exported from here, all the luminaires will be in their correct places, even considering the story settings so that the elevation will be correct. Here are all the light fixtures that we have. Okay, it will create those light fixtures here. Well, at the moment, they don't have too much information. There are only devices which have product information, but in this case, we come to the product models, and you can actually create the product models from these imported devices. So we have 3 different devices here imported, and once I press enter, it will import all those. Let's close that one, and you can see that here are, no, sorry, my bad, there are these light fixtures, and then there are these light fixtures. Okay, well, they have the IDs inside them. So in case you need to update the same IFC, you made a new calculation in Dialux, you want to import the new one, you bring in 39 luminaires, select OK. There are some updates in it and so forth. Select OK. And now they have changed a bit on those, and now you can see there is a few more products here that are not listed before. And if I say that show from drawing, so these 5 light fixtures here are new product models, so I can create them to be our new ones. And again, new product models are created, and you can see even the product information is here for these ones. So all the information that you fill in Dialux will be imported to CADMATIC Electrical. Well, then we can move back to this first floor drawing, and let's see something about the cables. So we have now moved on a bit. First, we have the floor plan, then we start to putting maybe devices of product models into the drawing, and now we start to do the cabling between the devices, and also maybe adding the feeders to distribution boards. So we have 2 light fixtures here, and they both have a wiring point. And when you do it correctly, when the wiring, you start to draw the wire, you do it as a polyline, or then you maybe take here and draw this kind of wiring, you will have the option to change the cable type that you are using. Let's go to check that cable type in a bit. So the wiring points that I mentioned, they are crucial for your really well-made electrical project to be working as it should be. So always use wiring points if possible. I will start it from here. I will change the chamfer for a bit and also wire it to be here. the snap options are quite useful to this one. I will accept the new wire to be here between these two light fixtures. This light fixture's ID is LE162 and this one and LE163. So guess what? We have the from and to information for this cable since we are using the wiring points. So again, all the connections that you make in the layout drawing, they can be used later on in other drawings. You can have these same things in single line drawing or in the schema drawing. You can actually have the same thing going on. You have the cable in the layout drawing, and you can define that. You can already see that it's going between these two devices, and only thing you need to do is to define the wire connections in there. Okay, as mentioned, we have the cable types in electrical, and it's quite comprehensive database of cables. It's almost 11,000. So you are able to select any of these cables here. On top there are the standard cables, and on bottom you can see all the cables that I have on my project. So for example, if we take a look of this cable here, we have all the cable information as we need for the layout drawing, but also, as I mentioned about these wires, we have all the wire information for this exact cable type. So we know that there is brown, black, and gray, and even the protective earth wire inside. User can also create new cables, and you can have the cable databases for your company as a shared database, however you like it. Sometimes the cable databases that we get from the manufacturers, they don't suit our customers' way of working. Some things need to be in different order. For example, the wires, you may want to have the protective earth as a first wire for some reason, and you can create those own cable databases to your use if you like. Okay, well, we have now seen all these cables between devices. The next point there is actually the feeder. There's a few ways to tell you that how the feeders, or not tell you, show the feeders in the drawing. This way of showing here is quite used in Nordic. So we have these group markings of feeders. This is, for example, the feeder number 3 of this distribution 01 dB1. These wirings are quite nice. You can actually see the whole wirings of the drawing of that feeder. So everything that is connected, again, things are now drawn using the wire connection points of the symbols. So the wires are considered as continuous. It will also calculate the short circuit current, and it will show the longest point of this one feeder furthest point, which means that the short circuit current is also calculated here. Another thing is that it will also, since we added the additional info, the power of 30 watts per one light fixture, it will also calculate. Let's see, we need to maybe start the management tool here. We will see that there is this group number 3. Let's double click that one open, and we can see that it's actually calculating the power of that one to be 660 watts. And that way the calculation is telling that the voltage drop is 0.08%, so not even close for the 4% that is told by the standard. Well, now that we are watching this one feeder, this is actually inside the distribution board, how it looks like. It has a group number 3. It has some property text of that one. It has the wire information for the whole feeders. So from the first point to the end point of the whole structure. Also, the protective devices here can be set. And one thing also I already mentioned is the short circuit current that we can do. It's just a simple calculation that you can see that what kind of estimation there is about the short circuit current. Also, you can define additional information and such, and of course the symbols for your groups. Depending on your location, you may not need this symbol to be here. Might be, as mentioned, quite specific for our Nordic countries. And from this view, you can also see that there are other things as well. All the feeders of this one distribution board can be seen here, and all the short circuit currents. So, for example, here is the 404 amperes, and if we take a look at these socket outlets, there is quite bit short circuit current, so there is no problem with that one. The protection will be working for sure with this C16 fuse. Well, now we have the feeders here, and let's look at the endpoints, so-called, for this whole device cable feeder continuum, and which is the distribution board. Distribution board we consider to be as a location or electrical position, and it will create a location out of that. And the location type in construction electrification is distribution board. In that way, you will have the bus bars and feeders available for your cabinet, and also you can give the size positions here and check the elevations for the 3D symbol, and of course define the systems. You can have occurrences in different drawings. You can see there is quite a few occurrences, mainly on the distribution board table, but also in the single line drawing. If I click that one, it will open it to me here, and I can go and take a look at that. And you can see there is this same location again, and there is cable between the main distribution board and this one distribution board 1, and that also has the from and to information and the calculated cable length. And that way, it's actually, now we have the connection, we have the cable length, we have a protection device, we can do the calculation for many things. Okay, that was just a quick example of how things are connected in electrical regarding cables, feeders, and distribution boards. Then let's move on to maybe doing more of the design of the drawing itself. We have the cable trays, cable ways, how you want to call them. We already have some existing things here that we can use our base point. You can draw the cable ways, some trays, trunking suspension relays. You can just read them here. You can define the types and save to be your default. But there is also a possibility for you that you can actually use our or your own databases to be used, so that you maybe have some Mega or Orbu Betterman cable trays that you are using. You can have those to be used per meter, and all the connection points will be listed in the report if you use our product information. Product information will also tell you the width and height of the product, so you only need to think about the elevation of your only the elevation of your device. Some other settings here, I'm just drawing with the 2D view here, and let's move on with a drawing. So you can draw our cable trays. You can draw them using the 2D view, or then you can just do this one in a 3D if you like. Let's take that one. And you can do all kind of definitions here. You can move things, you can stretch, and you can even do some go over, for example, here. And this needs to be, well, let's adjust that one to be 150 millimeters higher, and we can have the elevation there. But yeah, the 2D isn't telling you everything. It's you need something more to be sure that how things are going. And unfortunately, from the electrical designer's point of view, there are also other design disciplinaries working with you in the projects. So let's call, for example, the HVAC designer. They are putting their pipes on our way, and we need to, usually it's the electrical guy who needs to go over or go under it. And we need to take that to consideration. And let's see, you can import IFC models as an external references. You can have them per one story, or you can import them as a whole building, however you like. Well, I have this one already imported, so we can check that one in 2D. Okay, so I have drawn my cable here, cableway, and for me it looks like it's going to be a collision between the cable tray and the ducts. Let's see about that. A few ways how you can do actually this design here. You can use, for example, our divided viewports. On the right hand side, I will check my 3D to be active, so I can see it here, and from here I can see my 2D. So for example, I need to change something here. I can just select that one on the 2D drawing here. Let's say this needs to be 3100 high, and it will change there. Well, if you have big screens and you are doing construction electrification, it's quite useful to use this tool. But if you have smaller screens, maybe you have 2 screens at the same time, you can use our visualization window. I will open that one, and this is now a separate window that you can move to your other screen. It's the same thing you can do here. You can rotate things. You can just press Control and click mouse there. You can rotate this one, use the View Cube to rotation however you like. Now there is a whole other webinar about this View Cube, and also some training materials. You can go into this a bit deeper. Yep, but from this point on, I will only use this one view, so it's maybe for you guys it's much easier to follow. The other thing that is that you can also have the architect, the whole building as your reference. And let's see, now let's turn on the 3D, and you can see now we have the cable tray there still, and the whole building is now part here. Okay, so maybe you want to inspect things here from the whole building, considering both of the XREF drawings, but there are some walls in your way. So you can actually take the view clipping on, go and modify it. This one is a box that you can actually stretch to be matching your the way that you want to use it. This box, you can just do the crop edit that you want and then close it. Another option is to use these planes, and you can just add them to any part here. For example, here you can move them you can rotate them in a way that you want. And so, but I will check this one to be used here. Well, now we can see that there is some sort of collision here, that we use now the crop edit to maybe, or clip edit, see through the walls. We can see there is a collision. And we might want to also change it, maybe repair it. First things that you want to do, you want to create your own design view in case you need to go back to this view. I will create a 3D design view from the shop. Then I will move on and change back to the 2D view and create another one to be a 2D shop. So now I have 2D and 3D view of the same place. I can go between them quite easily. Now we have the cable trace there as well. So between these views, it's quite easy to jump. And now if I need to change things, I can just grab on this this one here and do the modification using the 3D. Well, let's go back to the 2D. And one thing is that you cannot see every single clash inside your design. That one was quite obvious one, but of course, sometimes you need help from our software. So there is actually a collision checking that we can use here. First, we need to create that one. Okay, we have the geometry done. But then let's do the collision checking of 3D parts. And this one allows you to actually do the collision checking for towards the selected models that you have. Now I'm only selecting my HVAC model, and the tolerance will be 10 millimeters, so it's 1 centimeter collision. That's under that one, it's okay. I will select OK. And there is some point that there's actually a real collision in the design. Okay, so we know that this is the point where the first collision is done. So I will actually just turn on these arrows. That this one. Well, no, let's the arrows be there to be pointed out. I will free the layer from the XREF, and then I will go to the 3D shop. Oh. Yep, and I want to maybe do some modifications for this cable tray here. I can move it to this side of these ducts here, but that's not all that I want to do. I actually want to redraw the whole cable tray using the plus mark. Then I want to select the elevation. And now I'm going to point out the duct here. Let's do that one again, actually. Create collision geometry one more time. Let's see if it works now. Once again, pick the elevation. Can I pick it from? No. I will select select the elevation, or then I will just type in the elevation for that one to be used, and then I can redraw the whole cable tray using that one. it was locked. The layer was locked, so for that reason it didn't pick the one. I will try one more time. Maybe it works now. Now it's free. So I will start to draw it. Then I will select pick layer and point out that yes, now it works. So we now know that the top of this duct is that much. Maybe that's enough. Select user defined, and then you can draw it that way. And now you can see it's not touching that one anymore. And if we save the drawing, maybe go to the 2D view here and do one more time for the collision checking. There is no more of this. Oh, I had too many models. They're selected. Yeah, delete the arrows. But yeah, you can see that we can create the collision geometry here. What this makes your life, or why this makes your life easier, is that you don't now have to export IFC from electrical, then put it to some other third-party software, maybe have your other HVAC and the building model, do the collision checking, then go back to electrical, maybe see what are the collisions here. Rather, you just upload or import the IFCs of other design disciplinaries to electrical and do the collision checking here. It's much easier to do it that way. Yes. Well, as mentioned, we also have the IFC export. Quite crucial for you nowadays when talking about the BIM. Some definitions about the storage settings, how you want to do the export. Maybe you want to have them all, maybe you want only the active drawing to be there. Other definitions maybe you need to do. And then you define what parts you want to export, what IFC version. Currently, we are certified for this IFC 2x3, but the IFC 4 certificate is coming soon, I guess. The certification process is, yeah, it's a long story about that. And then it's also a possibility for you to add IFC files to project documents. So they will be here as the one IFC file already is. One thing for you guys is that we have these property sets. Property sets are things that you have information in your drawing, for example, light fixture definitions, and you want to have those listed in your IFC model in certain way. You can use these property sets to export things. There are some Estonian property sets already done, but of course, like any other thing in electrical, user has their way to a possibility to create their own property sets. These one are going through in the training material, so please find those and take a closer look on how to create property sets. Yes, well, I will create my own IFC file using these settings. Select OK. Let's have it with that name. It will quite quickly create the IFC there, and it should be here already. So this is the new IFC file that is here. And now if I need to change something, for example, this moves to here or something else, now I just update my IFC file. I don't need to do those settings again. And it's quite fast on it. The IFC is there already created. Well, the same thing when you usually these IFC files, they are done when you do your design work. You create things, and many times you need to create the IFC files. But then we have also these reports that you can export from electrical database. meaning that you can have different kind of reports. For example, here is a document list that we have in our project already. We have the document name, we have a date, we have the site information, size. Some information is missing. Okay, then we have the light fixtures as well. Some information there. Position number 7, yeah, there is 22 pieces of that, for example. It's the product that we already defined a few times. Okay. These reports are already done, so report needs you to have some sort of template. You make a query from the database and you have a report done, just to tell it in a few words. Also, the training material will guide you through those quite nicely. So we have the document list and we have the light fixture list. And if we go to our database, let's save the drawing. So everything is there. Update the database here. And you can actually see that we have different kind of, this is now the database tool that is reading our, it's reading the database. So anything you change here will be saved directly to the database. So here we have, for example, all the devices on the project. You may want to see the cables of your project. You can do mass editing here. You can sort out things to your weave, how you want to do them. And then you have the documents, for example, that you have here. Like so. Well, the documents are here. And as mentioned, I showed you that in the report, the document list report, the designer was empty. You can actually quite easily update any information in database. For example, this way, I want that all the documents here, they have the same designer information, which my initials. Save that one. And now that information is already in the database. It's saved there instantaneously. And when you go and check, for example, these layouts that you can create here, the designer's name is still missing there, but once you synchronize changes from the database, it will now go through all these drawings. You can see that my initials appear to be here. Well, quite easy way to update any information here. And once you have done all these changes, you can just update the report. It will just now do all the report definitions. It will reuse those. And now the report is already done. Yeah, it's updating it here. And once I open the document, we have the designer information in all fields here that are part of this project. Like so. Well, another option, I showed you the light fixtures. We have them, we need to move back a bit so that you may remember that we had this Clamex i60 product model. So they are the 22 pieces of them in this shop area. Yeah. Then we have this product number, product model 2, position 2, light fixtures. Let's see where they are. We show in project 3. Well, there are 7 pieces of these light fixtures, and they are nowhere else. It's only in this drawing. So I can actually select all these 7 light fixtures. I can add them to my user selection list. And then I can move on back to the database, update that one, and go to my user selection list. So the user selection list will show you for example, in this case, all the devices that I picked from the drawing. They can be devices, cables, distribution boards, anything. Well, we have a product model for these ones, but we want to change them. These light fixtures need to be some other product model. I can change them quite easily using this product model tool. So I have the 7 light fixtures here. Then I will go for the lighting equipment and find the CADMATIC i60. Maybe I had the position number available here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Position number, it can be defined here. So I want the position number 7 to be for all of these. Double click it and it's changed. Select OK. And all the information will be changed other than the default value, default elevation. And once you select OK, the information is again saved to the database. Then when you go to here, to this floor plan, you can go see, oh, they are still the number 2, but once you update information from the database, all the light fixtures will be updated to position number 7, and the symbols will also change. And one thing also, there is now 29 pieces of that light fixture. And once again, we have the light fixture report. We just want to update that one. Update that one, and once it's done, open the document. And there is the CADMATIC i60 and 29 pieces of that, and in that drawing. So reports are quite easy to update if you use the database correctly. Then we are heading to our last maybe few minutes of the webinar here. One thing more is that there must be cases where you do changes in your drawing and you maybe it's not a nice thing, but you need to find the guilty one. Or who made the changes here? First of all, you can see that information from our database, that who made the change for example, these devices, who is responsible for that. And here are some modifier. So you can actually find out that who did the modification, and seems to be that I did the modification 2 minutes ago for these devices. You can find out these ones in your own projects. If you have multiple people, maybe you can just ask that, hey, did you do this one, and was this the purpose? Okay. Well, then you have these revision markings, you have arrows and such, you can use those. But sometimes there are some other things that need to be thought in the drawing, that what is actually changed. So let's say that I have actually made an backup copy of this one, let's say a week ago. And now the week has gone and I have maybe done some changes here. Maybe I have done this much of a change, and maybe I've moved, let's move this one to be group number 33. Nothing else. Okay, so I want to compare these two documents to each other. One thing I will do before that, I will just check my printing options. Yeah, I need to set that one to be default so it's working correctly. So I want to compare this one. This is the new document. I want to compare that one to the backup one. The backup might be something that you have set for like the contractor might have done some calculations based on your drawings, and then you need to show that these things have changed, or maybe there is some other things that you need to compare in the documents. Some things have changed. So I will start to compare these two documents. And what is it actually doing now? It's just creating two PDF files and comparing them on top of each other. And it's comparing the pixels on those. And when it finds a difference, it will highlight that one on yellow. When it finds a new one, referring to the backup version, it will create that one as a green, and the old or deleted one, well, yeah, you guess, it will be on red. So I made the change. I deleted this, not to delete, I moved it to be here. So each a change, and here as well, the group number has changed. So quite easy way to point out the changes in your design, that what are all these functionalities there, not functionalities, what are all these changes that you have made, maybe in 2 weeks, what has been your process, and what are new things in the drawing, or is there something that we actually deleted from the project? Quite useful tool, something I used when I was doing the designing job. It was really easy to see that what had changed in let's say in 2 weeks. This one can be done for the layouts. This can be done for the schema drawings, reports, actually anything that can be printed out as a PDF. This functionality works in that. Well, it seems that we don't have any questions on the questions field. You can feel free to type in anything if you now have any questions. But meanwhile, waiting for the questions, I want to thank you for attending this webinar. It was nice to have as many of you stayed for whole 1 hour and 20 minutes. It was as expected. It was a much longer one than we first said it was going to be. One thing I want to mention before I let you go is that actually not the thank you field, this one. Please check our trainings. Trainings from here, press this one, and you can go and check all these training materials. There's 10 videos, many hours of training material regarding building electrification, regarding any other electrical application that we have available at the moment. Please feel free to start learning yourself. This is completely free material for you. You don't need to register to anything. All our users are available to learn new things from here. But as said, thank you for joining me. Please follow me or CADMATIC on LinkedIn. I'll be posting there some nice cool tips maybe once in a while and something else. So let's be in touch with you in way or another. Thank you, and now have a nice day.